In this segment, I'm going to take a look at how you can use the Control key, the Shift key, and the Alt key to make specific adjustments, I guess, when you're designing, either creating an object or editing an object. Using those keys will enable you to quickly and easily perform certain sort of modifications, because it's just easier to show than it is to describe. So what I'm going to do is select this rectangular object, and I'll zoom in a little closer on it, and I'll just, I guess, first of all show if I grab a corner and I can rotate it, and I can rotate that to any specific angle that I want to. Now I'm going to use undo to put that back. But if I hold my Control key down and start to do the same rotation, you'll notice that as I move, it doesn't move until it reaches a specific angle. So that would be, it moves 22.5 degrees each time. So there's 45, another 22.5, another 22.5 puts it at 90. So it'll rotate by a very specific angle. So that's I guess using the Control key, and if I wanted to, maybe I'll just zoom out and I'm going to grab my rectangle key, and I'm going to show what happens if I hold the Control key down while I'm designing. So I'm going to left click and drag to start my shape. Now I'm going to add the Control key, and can you see on my screen how I have this set of rays that are, I guess, starting from where I started, so the first point of my shape, and they go by 22.5, and I can use that. So for example, if I want to make a perfect rectangle or a perfect square, I just need to go to the 45-degree angle, and I can bring that to any size square, but I know it'll be a perfect square. And so this is your way to create rectangle or square shapes using the Control key. So that's the Control key and how it will affect your editing or creating of an object. Now, what about the Alt key? If I do the same, so I'm going to just start by selecting this rectangular object. I'll hold the Alt key down, and now if I try to start rotating it, you'll see that it wants to snap to the grid lines. So this will be dependent upon the size of the grid that we have set, or if you were to create your own guidelines, so you can actually drag and create your own specific guidelines, and then you would have the ability to, holding the Alt key down, get it to snap to those guidelines. So when you, I guess, rotate, sorry, when you're rotating with the Alt key, it will snap to specifically the grid lines of your software. Now maybe I'll choose the Create Rectangle tool again, and I'm going to hold the Alt key down while I design, and you'll see that it will allow me to create my rectangle, but not at any specific size. It wants to snap to the grid lines that are based upon my ruler on our workspace. So that's the Alt key, and so it's slightly different than using the Control key, which goes by 22.5 degree increments. The Alt key will go by the increments of your measurements on your ruler, and therefore your grid background. And the third choice was the Shift key. And so, for example, maybe what I'll do is just choose this rectangle and show. We'll zoom in a little closer. If I hold down the Shift key, and then let's say we try to resize this shape, what happens is it resizes based on the center. Now I'll let go. If I normally resize it, it would resize based upon that corner. So starting at setting it in this corner and then shrinking it from the corner that I grabbed on. But if I hold my Shift key down, it resizes based upon the center. So if I wanted to make it larger, then it doesn't make it larger starting from one corner to the other. It makes it larger from the center out. So that can also be very helpful. And same thing when you're designing. If I choose the Rectangle tool, hold the Shift key down, it designs it from the center out. So normally when I hold the Rectangle key, it starts from the left and creates the shape that way. But if I hold the Shift key down at the same time, and perhaps I'll just move to an empty space over here, hold my Shift key down, and so the shape is based upon that center point. And the same thing if I was to choose to edit a rectangle. So let's we'll grab a little rectangle, zoom in on it here. If I was to hold the Shift key down while I edited it, it will resize it again based upon that center point. So the Control key based on 22.5-degree increments, the Alt key based upon the grid lines of your rulers, and the Shift key says resize or draw from the center out. So those keys can be very helpful into achieving the exact results you want very quickly and sort of easily done.